This proud Michigan mom would give anything for her family. Still, one brush with disaster years earlier made her fear for their future. After one rude awakening, she grappled with symptoms that neither her husband nor her doctor knew what to make of, until they were beyond the point of no return. Woman who feels a sharp pain in her ribs gets bewildering news from doctors. On one summer night in 2018, Kelly Yakish awoke in a scream of pain. She whirled around to survey her bedroom, but didn't spot any kind of imminent threat. Still, her body throbbed. Kelly's shriek naturally roused her husband, John, as well. The Michigan couple had stuck by each other for years, though this outburst seemed different from all the other tribulations they faced before. Once his wife settled down, John checked on the kids. Fortunately, Kelly and John had 3 deep sleepers on their hands. The children slept through the ear-piercing scream, which was good news for everybody. Hopeful that he would soon return to sleep, John ambled back down the hall. Kelly rationalized that there were many possible reasons for her pain. Maybe it was a cramp or just a little bit of gas. But as she lay back down next to her husband, she felt like she was resting on a bed of nails. After a visit to the bathroom, Kelly tried her best to doze off. She could only stare at her alarm clock as her side pounded harder and harder. Clutching her ribs, Kelly feared a past medical scare had returned to haunt them. After 4 years prior, Kelly went through a surprise pregnancy. Unaware that she was expecting, she went through a harrowing delivery. Though her son Beau developed into an unusual position, he entered the world healthy and happy. Still, the traumatic experience was one Kelly never wanted to face again. The 41-year-old adhered to a strict regimen of contraceptive shots, so there was no chance of another surprise baby. But she wondered if the shock pregnancy left behind permanent damage. Neither Kelly nor John knew quite what to do, but one development made the decision for them. She started bleeding. Quite a lot. Just a few hours before 5 a.m., the couple rushed to the emergency room. Once the medical staff stemmed the bleeding, they said they'd have to perform an ultrasound. That was the best bet of figuring out what was going on inside Kelly. Trembling, the mother of 3 prepared for the worst. Within minutes, the doctors shared a positive development. Kelly wasn't suffering from any kind of life-threatening internal injury. What shocked her and John, however, was the news that she was pregnant. Very pregnant. Kelly stammered that this was impossible. The experienced mom hadn't exhibited any symptoms of pregnancy. Not showing off any baby bump whatsoever, she was still wearing all of her regular clothes. When Kelly asked when she was due, the doctor couldn't do much more than shake his head. He told the worried couple to prepare themselves because she was already going into labor. The delivery would have to happen right at that hospital, which posed more than a few problems. Not a full-fledged medical center, the site didn't even have a maternity ward. Kelly's doctor admitted he'd only helped deliver 5 babies during his long career. Despite his inexperience, Kelly's pregnancy ended surprisingly seamlessly. She gave birth to a healthy baby boy and felt a huge wave of relief wash over her. Her long, painful night finally came to an end. As John held his newborn son for the first time, he and Kelly beamed at each other. They didn't expect to have a new addition to the family overnight. Still, the whole experience seemed to provide more questions than answers. It wasn't just that Kelly found out she was pregnant a bit late, She carried a baby full term without experiencing any side effects until a few hours prior. How was this possible? Dr. Mary Jane Minkin, a gynecologist at the Yale School of Medicine, explained that this turn of events was rare, but entirely possible. First off, Kelly's contraceptive injections allowed for a small chance of pregnancy. Then, there was her medical history. Both of Kelly's surprise babies developed in an unusual position that was behind her ribs up against her back. This prevented many of the usual pregnancy triggers from being set off and allowed the baby to hide as he grew. Once the shock wore off, Kelly and John were overjoyed to welcome their new child, Gunnar, to the family. As they sat down for dinner the next night, they joyfully dragged over one more chair to the table. Kelly learned firsthand that few pregnancies go exactly as planned. Through support groups, she was able to connect with other women like her who'd experienced something extremely traumatic.